McDonald's might not tell you how to make a McChicken sandwich, but I will. I'm going to recreate that crispy, golden, crunchy coating on a chicken patty, and it's homemade perfection. And I actually think it's better. Let me show you how I recreate a McChicken sandwich at home. And I'll share with you the little secret to recreating that crispy seasoned patty. There are days when I want a McDonald's McValue McChicken sandwich. But I think I can recreate it at home even better. So to start, I'm working with a little over 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken breast that I already cut into pieces. And for the seasoning, I'm keeping it simple. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of MSG, and 1 large egg. I'm also going to be adding 2 teaspoons of cornstarch into the mix. And all you have to do is put this into a food processor. So that little secret that a lot of people either don't like to tell you or that a lot of people don't like to hear that gives you that fast food taste is MSG. If you do not like using MSG, you don't have to. But if you really want to recreate anything fast food at home, there's always a little MSG in it. So I use it, I like it, and it's in this recipe. Okay, now let's give this a whirl. If you do not have a food processor, just use ground chicken from the grocery store, but truly using this method gives you that fast food texture to the patty. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just divide this into somewhere between 8 to 10 patties, and you want to work with cornstarch to coat it. It makes it a lot easier. If you have gloves, work with those. I had some, but they were too big for my hands and it was just a mess. So I'm using clean hands and a little cornstarch to shape the patties like this. And if you really want the true McDonald's McChicken experience, make the patties a lot thinner and smaller, and there you go. So I have this mixture divided into 8 patties, and it's going into the freezer for an hour because this is going to help you in the next step when you go to dredge and fry these. You want to make sure that these are frozen solid, and I'll show you. I'm going to pick one up, and you can see it's easy to work with. It's not all over the place. That's what you want. So I'm going to start preheating my cooking oil. You'll want to preheat your cooking oil to around 355 to 360 degrees Fahrenheit. So let that go gradually. Now let's work on the wet batter. I have 1 cup of self-rising flour. To that I'm going to season with a half teaspoon of salt, a full teaspoon of MSG, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, onion powder, and a half teaspoon of paprika, and you give that a mix. If you do not have self-rising flour, you could use regular flour with a half teaspoon of baking powder in it and just add a full teaspoon of salt. I'm going to add 1 cup of cold water, little by little, mixing and whisking until everything is combined. And if you need extra water, just a tablespoon at a time until it looks like this. You'll want it close to a pancake batter consistency, and this is ready. So what you're going to do is take your frozen chicken patty and you are going to carefully dip and dunk into the wet batter. You'll want to coat it and then let the excess batter kind of drip back into the bowl, and then you're ready to fry. I'm going to let this fry on each side for about somewhere between 2 to 3 minutes. And then let it go a little bit longer until you get that golden brown color. Remember, you are working with a thin frozen patty, so you want to make sure the interior reaches 165 degrees Fahrenheit. But I'm going to give this a flip, and already you can see how crispy and crunchy that exterior is with that wet batter. It totally makes a difference. Okay, this is going to go on a wire rack because that will ensure that as it hangs out, it stays crispy on the exterior. But this is fried to perfection. And I kid you not, this literally looks like the McChicken patty, but better. So I'm going to repeat the process for the rest of the patties, and then it's almost time to put this together. And it's so easy once you fry these up. So several years ago, I did a recreation of chicken McNuggets, and you absolutely can use this very recipe that I'm showing you today to recreate your very own chicken McNuggets. The only difference is that instead of shaping it into patties, you shape it into those little nuggets and do the same thing. You freeze them and create this dredge or this batter and fry them up. By the way, For those of you that are new to my channel, welcome to Simply Mama Cooks. And if you have been here for quite some time, you know I appreciate you. Let me know in the comment section if there are other recipes that you'd like me to recreate from fast food restaurants, maybe McDonald's. It's always fun to recreate them, and I like to step up to the challenge. Okay, so let's build this sandwich. A regular hamburger bun from the grocery store. You can toast it, you can steam it, it's up to you. Add your mayo. The amount is up to you because you're recreating it at home. Add what you like. So I'm just going to spread that out. And now let's go for that crispity, crunchy, homemade chicken patty that's seasoned to perfection. That goes right on the bottom of the bun. Now you'll want some iceberg lettuce. Chop it, shred it how you like. And I'm putting that right on top. Now let's add a little more mayo. And this is it. Top it with the bun, and it's time to dig in. If you do not like eating noises, tune away, because I'm going to show you how crunchy and crispy this is, and it's so good. And I have to mention, out of all the things that I have recreated on this channel, I think this one is my favorite one. Okay, well, one of my favorites. They're all good. Gosh, I love that crispy crunch. Up next, I'm going to show you a slightly different variation to get those chicken McNuggets. Welcome back, everybody. So today my son requested chicken nuggets, but I decided to McNuggetify these nuggets today. I'm also making a homemade sweet and sour sauce to go along with it. It's his favorite. So you'll want to go ahead and use the McChicken recipe when you're food processing all the chicken breast, and then I'm going to show you how I shape and make everything else. Okay. So this is paste-like. So now I'm going to start shaping my nuggets. And yes, I have two different gloves on. Okay, so I have a paste-like chicken, ground chicken here. So now you'll just want to shape it in the shape of your choice. I'm going to go for, I don't know, maybe that works. And I'm going to set it on my baking sheet lined with a parchment paper. Okay, so my nuggets are shaped. I have probably a 20-piece nugget situation going on here. I'm going to put these in the freezer until I need them. They're not going to freeze solid. I just want them to firm up a bit. So put them in the freezer for about 15 minutes or so. Okay, so while my nuggets are in the freezer, I'm going to make a sweet and sour sauce. So to a small saucepan, I'm going to add a half tablespoon of oil. And to that, I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger paste. It came in a jar. And I'm going to saute this just for about 30 seconds or so. Okay, now I'm going to add 1 cup of apricot jam or preserves, and this is actually a combination of apricot preserve and orange marmalade because I didn't have enough of apricot. But if you have 1 cup of apricot or even a cup of peach or pineapple preserve, that really works great. But this is a combination. And I'm going to start with a teaspoon of rice vinegar. I'll give it a taste towards the end. If it needs a little bit more, then I'll add it. But you'll want to add the ratio of vinegar and the salt to your taste. A pinch of salt going in. Here I have a 1/2 cup of water. What I'm going to do is actually strain this because I really want to make kind of like a replica of the sweet and sour sauces that you get from McDonald's or your fast food restaurants. And some of these orange bits are really, they're kind of big for this, so I will strain this. Okay, so back into my saucepan. A little bit of rice vinegar, just a little drop. There we go. Hopefully that didn't go too crazy with that. Okay, so now it's gently simmering. And just to give it a thicker consistency, I made a cornstarch slurry, 3 tablespoons of cold water, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, and I'm going to drizzle in just little by little. I'm gonna give that a mix, and that's it. And that's the sweet and sour sauce. Once you shut off the heat, it will thicken more because there's, you know, pectin in this. There we go. Okay, so now let's work on the, well, this is the dry dredge for the nuggets. This is just a 1/2 cup of cornstarch. I didn't season it or anything, it's just cornstarch. And here I have a 1/2 cup of cornstarch and 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. To that, I am going to add 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of my seasoning spice blend. You could use 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt to a teaspoon of salt, and just give that a mix. I'm going to add 1 large egg. And now I'm going to slowly work in ice cold water. I'm going in with another 1/4 cup of iced water or chilled water, and that should do the trick. So in all, 10 ounces or 10 fluid ounces of cold water to this. And be sure to check the description below for all the ingredients and measurements. Yeah, this is perfect. Okay, so I'm doing this one-handed. So basically I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, and then I'm just going to start frying them. So I'm going to take one of my nuggets, dredge it or coat it in this cornstarch, then dip it into my wet batter, right into my preheated oil. You want to preheat your oil to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm probably going to drop in maybe 5 to 6 nuggets in each batch. Then once they have cooked for about 5 to 7 minutes or reach a golden brown color and cooked on the inside, I'm going to place them on my baking sheet with a wire rack. Okay, so the second one I'm going to use some chopsticks. That'll help me out better. There we go. So now I'm just going to let these cook until they are cooked through and a golden brown color, somewhere between 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, so my nuggets, my chicken nuggets, my McNuggets, whatever you want to call them, they've already fried once, but I'm going to go for a double fry. I fried them for about 5 minutes for the first fry, and now I'm going to put them back in for about 2 more minutes. This will give me that crunchy texture. Okay, so all of my nuggets are done. Take a look at that. I mean, could you tell that they were from McDonald's? I think they are pretty close. I think my son's going to love this. But here's the one that's shaped like a little boot. And you do not have to double fry these, but I really think it helps the texture. So, I mean, I touched this one. I might as well try this, right? Into that homemade sauce. And it thickened quite nicely. Ooh, hot. I hope you give these recipes a try. I hope you like it. And thanks for watching.